Hey guys, it's Lori. So this is like my fourth time trying to make this video. I'm going to try to make it quick, but I wanted, you know how I tell stories about some of the spiritual, paranormal experiences I've had? That's what I want to talk about today. Just a couple different things that have happened to me. I mean, for people that don't believe that evil exists, I mean, all you got to do is ask. Ask God to open your spiritual eyes, but don't ask him if you're not prepared for what you're going to see, because it's not all butterflies and fairies and, hot air balloons. I'm telling you, there is some really nasty, nasty stuff out there. I remember one time I was at the library with my son, and there was this man, and this man had the darkest eyes ever, and he was saying some really horrible stuff to these women that were in there, and they were afraid of him. And as we approached, my son asked the women if they were okay, if they needed help, and they didn't even answer him. They were so like taken aback. And then the man saw us, and he like looked at us, and he started to back up, and then he looks at my son, and then looks at me, and he goes, "They don't know who I am, but you know who I am." And then he looks at my son, and he says, "You know who I am." Said exactly the same thing. And my son goes, "Be gone." And he backed up, and left. And the weirdest thing is, this guy was not just like, you might think, okay, he just wasn't on his meds. No, his eyes were black, black, black. This man, I don't think was, angels and demons can make themselves in human form, but I don't think that's what this was. I think this was an actual man who had, for whatever reason, allowed the evil side in, and it had got to the point of some kind of demon possession or something, which leads me, just quickly, side note, we have to be really careful. We have to be really discerning. People on a day-to-day basis will say things like, well, I don't allow anything evil. I don't even watch horror movies or whatever. But we got to be careful. They can attach in many different ways. They can attach through relationships. They can attach through sex. And right now, in today's world, well, it's been like this for years and years and years, but it's just like, people just sleep together, just whatever. Just please be careful. Not only are you sharing, physically, bodily fluids and like whoever that person's been with, the deal. We've been taught it since we're young kids, but also spiritually speaking, it's so physically it's the closest two people can get, and spiritually you're sharing as well. Okay, so you're accepting and giving and vice versa. Okay, so we've got this stuff going on, and if there's anything negative, it attaches. Also through relationships. Also, sometimes people want to send you stuff, I remember one time I had this guy come in. I was working in an office at that time. Again, this is probably 25, 30 years ago, okay? And this man came in, and he was from somewhere in the islands. I'm not sure. I can't remember which islands, but somewhere down in the Caribbean. And he asked me, he showed me a picture of somebody, and I told him that I felt this person had died, and he's like, yes, how did they die? And this is the strangest thing, and I usually don't remember the stuff I pick up, but I remember this. I could feel this person being choked, literally choked. And I'm like, they can't breathe. There's pressure on the neck. It's as if somebody's choking them, but nobody's there. That's all I could feel. And the man is like, yes, yes, yes. And I'm like, okay, I don't understand what I'm saying, but do you? He said, yes. And then he tells me, he goes, I was just looking for a confirmation. He's like, this is voodoo, and I know who did it, and you just confirmed it. And now I'm going to kill that person, and I'm not going to use voodoo. And I'm like, wait. Don't ever. No. Verify somewhere else. Don't take my word for it. But this man was like, no, absolutely. Now, the reason I bring this up, I don't know whatever became of that. I pray to God he didn't kill anybody. But The reason I bring this up is because, especially in the United States and, the UK, and it's like, yeah, that stuff doesn't happen. People blow it off. But let me tell you, it does. And in some countries around the world, it's absolutely like everyday stuff. Right here in the United States, for some people, it's like everyday stuff. There's all different things. Maybe some people are part of an actual organized religion like hoodoo or voodoo, but maybe they're just playing around with stuff. Some people go, and today it's so rampant, like everywhere. You want to learn how to like shut somebody up or stop your enemy or black magic this and black magic that, and you can look it up very easily, Google, YouTube, whatever. And what's more dangerous than a hoodoo priestess is somebody that's like totally ignorant to the stuff and gets all their materials and puts it all together, and really, you don't know what the hell you're doing. You're playing. So not only it may not be more dangerous to the person they're sending it to, but it's more dangerous to them personally because they're inviting all these spirits that they probably don't even believe in. That answers that question. Do you need to believe in it for it to happen? No. I hear people out there all the time saying, and these are people that have like lots and lots of followers. People trust them, and they're saying, oh no, if you run into anything negative, it's just a projection. Just change your perception. It's your own fears coming at you. It's this, it's that. No, it's not. Sometimes it may be. But for the most part, no, they're real entities. Just like angels are real, demons are real. Okay, and then one more thing I want to say real quick, because I know this is going longer than I wanted it to. One time I was sitting in church, and these are just different. I had asked God to open my spiritual eyes, oh gosh, years ago. And like I said, don't ask unless you're really prepared. I had no idea, and this is even after doing all this work all these years, right? The first thing that I saw when that happened, and it didn't happen right away. It was like a few days after I had asked, or I don't even know how long. I wasn't even thinking about it, but I was driving down the road and I came to a four-way stop. So I'm here, and then a car pulls up here, and we looked at each other as normal. And it was a young girl, cute, maybe in her early 20s, cute kid, looked like every other 20-something. And she smiled at me, and I smiled at her, and all of a sudden her face just like morphed right before my eyes, and I'm like looking, double take, morphed into like sunken, like a creature. And I was telling her to, go at the time that this happened, and as she's driving past me, she like stares at me, and then her face like came back to normal. I was like, whoa. That was the first time. Then several times I've seen other different things. I see like things attached to people. Not always. I can't always see it, but it's as if, I don't know when it's supposed to happen, I see it. And then one time I'm in church, right? This church I used to go to, and since they changed like I don't know, the ministry, the people in charge, whatever. It's become more of one of those feel-good churches. Hey, come on in, whatever you want, we got it. It's not a place for me anymore. But so I went. I hadn't gone in a while, and I had gone one time. This was a few years back. And when I walked in, I just got an overwhelming feeling of negative entities, evil somewhere. I'm not saying the whole place. It didn't feel like, ooh, this is a bad place, this is a cult. It didn't feel like that. It felt like there's something here disguising itself, which evil does. Yeah, I mean, yes. It's not like in the movies where, everything like evil creatures and horns. I mean, the devil doesn't have, a pitchfork or whatever. No, instead they come disguised as an angel of light. You have to be extremely careful. The devil will come to you, or his demons, as, the best thing you've ever wanted, money, perfect person, whatever the case may be. That's why we have to be extremely discerning. And, they could come as the perfect little church mouse, right? That's why we have to be discerning. You'll know them by their fruits, right? So, anyway, that's aside from the poison, another video. So I'm sitting in church, and I get this overwhelming vibe that I'm getting stared at. And I'm looking around, and there was a single woman right next to me. In front of me, there was a couple. I think they might have had one child. And behind me, there was a family. I don't think there was anybody to my left. And I'm sitting there and I'm singing, my favorite part of the whole service. And I could feel these eyes upon me. And in my peripheral vision, I look over and it's the woman next to me and she kind of smiles at me, whatever. I smile back, but then I can feel her, like, you know how you can feel somebody stare, like it's almost like burning? Well, I can feel that. And then I see her go like this. It's not her. Okay, this is so weird. She's here. It's almost as if something came out. And I know it sounds like you're like, what drugs are you doing? None. I don't do drugs, okay? And I'm not crazy. So, but this really happened. So she's like, say this is her. Like out of her came like this her. It looked like her, hair up in a ponytail, the whole thing, but with an evil, distorted face, like looking at me, like say this is me. So she's like right, that creeped me out. So I'm sitting there trying to not react. And that happened 3 times. And then finally, in my head, because I couldn't say it aloud because, I mean, there's a bunch of people around me, but in my head, I just said, Holy Spirit, come in the name of Jesus Christ, bind and rebuke this person. If you can, remove it from her, but block me, protect me, or something along those lines, and cover me in the blood or whatever. I can't remember specifically what I said, but I prayed really hard and stood firm in my faith while this thing was trying to intimidate me. I mean, it was like right in my face, like, just the thought of it, creepy. And just before it went away, it was as if all of those people around me were part of it. But I did. I covered myself in the blood, and I just stood firm, and I made it out of there. I didn't go back for a while. I have been back since. That didn't happen to me again. But I just wanted to tell a little bit of a couple different things that have happened to me. And again, I'm not mentally ill, and I'm not doing drugs. This stuff really happens. Some people can see it clearer than others, but we all, whether you can see spirit, like with your physical eyes, whether you can pick stuff up, or whether not. Some people say to me, I don't pick up anything. You still need to use discernment. You still need to know, okay, take the proper precautions. The whole sex thing, I talk to my clients about that all the time. And believe me, I'm not, I have my past, all of that. But we have to be so careful. There is a reason why there are all these spiritual rules, I'll say, put in place, okay? And it's not to make it so you never have fun in your life, honestly. We use the spiritual principles, but most of us ignore the spiritual rules, right? And I call them that. I don't know what else to call them, but maybe I'll do a video on that at some point. But yeah, spirit is real. And I think more and more, especially with the recent shifts, people that even not normally wouldn't have any kind of feeling or opening or intuition, or we all have intuition, but people that say I have nothing, never heard from spirit, nothing like that, all of a sudden the veil is thin. People are having experiences. So don't think you're crazy. It's happening. It's time for us to wake up, be aware, and use discernment. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. I'll see you in the next video.